Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared as the fleet tore through the void, leaving streaks of ionized plasma behind. Reports of Epsilon outposts' fall reached me just as the enemy's shadow cloaked the horizon. Our sensors picked the aftermath: firestorms, collapsed shields, and silent corridors. Protocol demanded retreat. Every officer urged it, but one soldier, Lieutenant Kale, remained, alone. His comms crackled with calm defiance. "I'll hold," he said, voice steady amid chaos. A fleet, vast and untested, depended on him, though none dared hope he would survive the night. For 9 days, Kale became a one-man army. Automated turrets, hacked drones, and salvaged weapons answered his command. Waves of enemy forces fell before him, yet he never wavered. I watched his feeds, torn between admiration and disbelief. Hundreds dead, thousands delayed. He gave us time. The fleet regrouped, recalibrated, and prepared to strike back. Statues would be built, tales told, but Kale never spoke of glory. When asked why he stayed, he simply said, "Because someone had to." And in that moment, I realized the galaxy would never forget him. Sensors flared with anomalies in the outer rim. Ships long thought lost reappeared, drifting like specters. Admiral Lyra's voice cut through the bridge's tension. "The enemy believes us broken. Let's prove them wrong." The Ghost Fleet, cloaked, modular, unpredictable, moved silently, scanning for weak points. Every ship was a technological marvel, armed with AI-assisted railguns and stealth arrays. Yet the question lingered: who commanded these shadows? Intelligence suggested a phantom leader. No call sign, no record, just precision and devastation. Captain Renard observed the fleet through augmented reality scopes, noting each vessel's signature. "It's almost as if they know our every move before we make it," he muttered. Algorithms analyzed trajectory patterns, searching for human oversight. But the precision hinted at something else. Humanity's missing fleet, perhaps, returned after decades. Every sensor ping seemed choreographed, a deadly ballet. I realized then that our war was not against numbers alone, but against strategy itself, refined to perfection. And somewhere, hidden in the dark, the commander of this ghost fleet watched, waiting for the right moment to strike. A breach. Systems flickered, shields dropped for 10 heartbeats, enough for enemy missiles to punch through. The bridge erupted into alarms. Commander Vance barked orders, tracing the signal. "Internal sabotage," he growled. Every crew member became a suspect, eyes darting nervously. Our own technology, once flawless, had been weaponized against us. AI logs revealed anomalies, tiny code snippets, almost invisible like whispers in a storm. One officer, unaware of his own compromised implant, had become a vector. Trust was shattered in an instant. The saboteur, Private Kalis, panicked when confronted, but reasoning reached him through fear and logic. "You were used," Vance said, voice low and commanding. Kalis's hands shook as he revealed the hidden data cache. The enemy had infiltrated months ago, learning our routines, predicting our strategies. We neutralized the threat, but the lesson cut deeper. Our greatest vulnerability was ourselves. Even as the fleet jumped to hyperspace, I felt the chill of paranoia settle over the crew, a silent shadow we would carry into every battle yet to come. Recon drones relayed images of derelict ships, wreckage from forgotten skirmishes, floating like tombstones in the void. Histories erased, yet traces of advanced technology lingered. Admiral Lyra leaned over the holomap, tracing faint energy signatures. "These vessels were ours, long before history forgot them," she whispered. Each echo held weapon systems decades ahead of anything in current service. To reclaim them meant risk and knowledge beyond reckoning. A hidden armada, lost to time, now whispered secrets from the darkness. I assigned teams to board and salvage the derelicts, knowing the enemy would sense our presence. The first boarding party discovered a pulse cannon capable of destroying entire cruisers in seconds, yet its control matrix required manual override. Human ingenuity, not AI, was key. As we lifted it aboard, the fleet shifted, shadows stretching across the sensor arrays. Every new weapon, every recovered ship increased our odds, but also revealed the enemy's intent. They sought not mere victory but the complete erasure of human ingenuity. The war was no longer survival. It was reclamation. 3 days to impact. Enemy forces amassed at the Solstice Rift, a spatial anomaly capable of bending reality itself. Fleet sensors screamed warnings. Energy spikes, gravitational distortions, rogue comets accelerated into trajectory paths. Admiral Lyra's voice cut through the tension. All units, prepare for unconventional engagement. Time is a weapon, and it's running out. The crew's hands flew over controls, adjusting shields, recalibrating weapons, and rerouting power. Outside, the void shimmered with lethal beauty, waiting to devour us whole. Captain Renard's squadron tore through the rift's outer defenses, each maneuver pushing engines and nerves to the limit. Missiles danced around energy eddies. Plasma bursts illuminated twisted debris. The enemy, confident in the anomaly, underestimated human adaptability. Every second Kale had delayed them at Epsilon now paid dividends. Our ships moved like ghosts, striking with precision they could not predict. I realized then that survival would demand more than strategy. It would require audacity, sacrifice, and a refusal to yield, even against forces the galaxy had long considered unstoppable. Our ships skirted the edges of the Solstice Rift. Energy waves danced across shields, twisting sensors into chaos. Commander Vance's voice was calm, almost clinical. Do not rely on AI for navigation. The Rift obeys no algorithm. Manual piloting was our only chance. Every vessel became a thread in a fragile tapestry, weaving through gravitational turbulence. Missiles detonated in streaks of green fire, illuminating the void like auroras of war. Every heartbeat felt like an eternity. From the bridge, I watched the fleet adjust to the anomaly's rhythm. Human reflexes, intuition, and sheer stubbornness kept us alive where logic alone would have failed. Enemy ships tried to anticipate our paths but misjudged the human element. Every evasive maneuver bought us seconds that could tip the balance. Kale's legend haunted my thoughts. One soldier, against impossible odds, had changed history. Now, the entire fleet, guided by human instinct, danced through annihilation with a defiance only we could command. A faint signal pulsed across comm channels, encrypted yet unmistakably human. Lieutenant Mara's hands flew over decryption matrices. "It's old. Pre-Earth records," she said, astonished. The signal contained coordinates, schematics, and warnings, an invitation or a trap. Admiral Lyra's eyes narrowed. Someone left us a map in the dark. We follow it. We may find salvation or a slaughter. The fleet held its breath as the coordinates blinked, guiding them into uncharted void sectors. Captain Renard led a scouting squadron, each ship a needle threading through the black. Sensors picked up faint debris, ancient vessels long thought destroyed. Yet the signal pulsed stronger here, almost alive. Every recovered fragment suggested advanced technology far beyond our current fleet. AI systems whirred, analyzing, predicting, but human interpretation remained crucial. The discovery hinted at a hidden network, a civilization lost to time, yet leaving clues for the worthy. Somewhere in the void, the galaxy's secrets waited. An explosion rocked the bridge. Shields faltered. Systems blinked offline. Sabotage again, this time deliberate, targeted. One officer, Lieutenant Corvin, had been feeding the enemy our tactical feed. His capture revealed a chilling truth. The enemy had human collaborators embedded across multiple fleets. Loyalty was a fragile illusion. Commander Vance's voice thundered over comms. "Root out the traitors. Every second they remain alive costs us lives." Trust cracked like shattered glass. Every crew member felt the weight of suspicion. Teams moved with precision, identifying and isolating threats. Corvin's confession unveiled not just tactics but personal vendettas manipulated by the enemy. The betrayal was intimate, corrosive, and painful, reminding us that war was fought not only in space but within hearts and minds. Once neutralized, the fleet recalibrated. Every system and every crew member doubled in vigilance. The void outside remained a mirror to our fear, infinite, unforgiving, and full of hidden dangers. Humanity's resolve, however, proved resilient, even when tested by its own shadow. The recovered derelict pulse cannon hummed with dormant energy, its potential staggering. Engineers argued over activation. One misstep could vaporize an entire wing. Kale's spirit seemed to guide us as Lieutenant Mara's hands danced over control arrays. Finally, the cannon powered up, a low hum vibrating through the ship. Enemy probes detected the surge immediately. "They know we're armed," Admiral Lyra said, eyes steely. "Let's make them regret it." Every decision now carried the weight of annihilation. The first strike demonstrated its terrifying efficiency. Enemy cruisers disintegrated in a silent green flash, debris scattering like cosmic confetti. The fleet surged forward, emboldened. Technology, combined with human courage, became an unstoppable force. Sensors tracked enemy retreats, miscalculations, and panicked formations. Yet, each victory reminded us of the cost. Every action demanded precision, discipline, and nerve. Humanity's ingenuity had birthed a weapon of reckoning. But the galaxy would remember our resolve more than our firepower. Reports reached us. The Ghost Fleet had split. One wing pursued us relentlessly. The other vanished. Patterns suggested a mind orchestrating every move with inhuman foresight. Admiral Lyra's voice was tight with tension. "There's a commander we haven't seen, and we're dancing to their tune." Sensors picked faint biosignatures, human but modified, enhanced and ruthless. Somewhere, in the dark, a strategist calculated every one of our choices before we made them. Captain Renard considered a trap, yet the opportunity was too valuable to ignore. Deploying decoy drones, the fleet feinted toward the anomaly, drawing the Ghost Commander into a confrontation. Every sensor ping, every engine roar, felt like a chess piece moving across a galactic board. Anticipation and dread intertwined as we prepared for the inevitable clash. Humanity would not cower. We would meet the shadows with fire, wit, and the stubborn defiance that had made one soldier a legend. The war was escalating, and the first true battle with this Ghost Commander was imminent. Our fleet approached the heart of the rift, where gravitational distortions twisted light into phantom horizons. Sensors screamed anomalies. Navigation grids fluctuated like liquid. Admiral Lyra's hands gripped the console. "Hold formation. Don't panic. Calculated risk is our weapon." The Ghost Fleet mirrored us, appearing from nowhere, their cloaked ships emerging with predatory precision. Every maneuver demanded split-second calculation. One wrong move could fracture the fleet into annihilation. Captain Renard led the vanguard through energy eddies, laser turrets painting the void with deadly arcs. Enemy ships fell into ambush traps, yet the Ghost Commander predicted some moves, countering with eerie efficiency. Each pulse from our cannon illuminated twisted wreckage, a testament to human tenacity. Even in chaos, the fleet adapted, learning, evolving. The collision was not mere combat. It was a dance of strategy and instinct, testing whether humanity's audacity could outmatch perfected foresight. A sudden energy surge struck the fleet, collapsing shield harmonics. Ships pitched violently, alarms screaming across the decks. Commander Vance barked, "Manual override! Brace for rift collapse. Gravity waves twisted metal and electronics alike. The void became a living hazard, bending reality around us. Pilots fought their instincts, holding vessels through the anomaly's roar. Every second demanded mastery of both human skill and technology. From the bridge, I watched our fleet thread the anomaly like a needle through fabric. Kale's legend inspired every maneuver. Fear became precision. Enemy ships, overconfident in AI predictions, struggled to compensate. Missiles detonated harmlessly in warped space while our vanguard slipped through cracks unseen. Survival required audacity, improvisation, and sheer stubbornness. In that crucible, humanity's strength was revealed, not in numbers, but in instinct, courage, and the refusal to yield to forces that should have been unbeatable. The pre-Earth signal pulsed again, stronger, almost urgent. Lieutenant Mara decrypted the last layer, coordinates to a hidden cache buried deep within a collapsed star system. Weapons, starships, and archives of lost technology awaited. Admiral Lyra leaned close. This is not a gift, it's a test. The enemy's ghost fleet would anticipate, intercept, and ambush if we moved recklessly. Strategy demanded patience, daring, and deception. Captain Renard led the retrieval teams, navigating jagged asteroid fields. Automated defense drones patrolled ancient relics, long forgotten by the galaxy. Salvage operations revealed weapons of unimaginable power, AI cores with sentient algorithms, and data caches predicting enemy strategies. The fleet absorbed this intelligence, each ship recalibrating for the confrontation ahead. Humanity was no longer just fighting for survival. We were reclaiming lost supremacy, one forgotten relic at a time. The ghosts of the past guided us toward the future. A stealth squadron infiltrated the Ghost Fleet, cloaked drones mimicking debris and cosmic radiation. Sensors barely detected them, yet each movement was critical. Commander Vance whispered over comms, "One misstep, and we're part of their history." The enemy vessels moved predictably, too confident in their calculations. Human intuition filled the gaps where AI could not adapt. Explosions rippled silently through cloaked corridors as drones sabotaged key subsystems. Enemy formations fractured, shields flickered, propulsion grids overloaded. The fleet, sensing the disruption, surged forward with renewed confidence. The counterstrike was surgical, precise, a combination of audacity and technology. Humanity's legacy had always been adaptability. Here, it became lethal. The Ghost Fleet's advantage waned, and for the first time, the balance of power shifted. One soldier's defiance had inspired a fleet. Now, it has inspired a war. Enemy reinforcements emerged from subspace folds cascading like tidal waves. Sensors blinked warnings of kinetic storms, plasma strikes, and deadly railgun barrages. Admiral Lyra's face hardened. "Hold the line. Humanity fights here, and we do not yield." Every crew member gripped controls, their hands trembling, their minds focused. The void became a theater of devastation, where life and death hung on split-second decisions. Captain Renard maneuvered through the chaos, dodging energy torrents and debris. The pulse cannon roared, green death illuminating enemy ranks. Yet even as victories stacked, the enemy's ghost commander adapted, countering with cruel precision. Humanity teetered on the edge of annihilation, but resolve burned brighter than fear. Every ship, every weapon, every human heart beat in synchrony. The battle was not over. It was escalating toward a climax that would decide the fate of the fleet and perhaps the galaxy itself. The fleet executed a risky maneuver, splitting into two wings to flank the Ghost Commander's main force. Sensors flashed with enemy movement, anticipation etched into every bridge officer's face. Admiral Lyra's voice cut sharply. "Precision. Timing. Humanity's advantage is unpredictability. Use it." The void twisted around us, warped by the rift's lingering anomalies. Every misstep could trigger a catastrophe. Captain Renard led the vanguard, weaving between debris and enemy fire. The pulse cannon struck from the rear, obliterating cloaked cruisers that had assumed safety. Each destroyed ship became a testament to human audacity. Yet the Ghost commander adjusted, recalculating faster than expected. Our flanking maneuver bought seconds, enough to inflict damage but not yet enough to claim victory. The enemy remained a ghost in the machine, anticipating, calculating, and haunting our every decision. The fleet approached the rift's core, a swirling vortex of energy capable of tearing ships apart. Sensors reported gravitational anomalies that made navigation treacherous. Commander Vance barked orders: manual piloting, trust instincts, not AI. Engines strained, shields fluctuated, and the void seemed alive, testing our resolve. Every pilot held their breath, each second a battle between control and chaos. Through the maelstrom, our ships threaded a narrow path, evading energy spikes that could disintegrate cruisers. Enemy ships followed, yet many faltered against the unpredictable currents. Our fleet's audacity turned the rift from hazard to weapon. Each successful maneuver inspired confidence, while the Ghost commander's strategies began to unravel. Human intuition, stubbornness, and courage turned the impossible into opportunity. The rift's heart had become our proving ground. A signal intercept revealed the Ghost commander's identity. A human, long presumed dead, Admiral Corrin, vanished decades ago after a failed campaign. AI-enhanced, augmented, and ruthless, he had survived in secret, perfecting strategy and weaponized foresight. Admiral Lyra's voice trembled with both awe and dread. This isn't just an enemy. It's one of our own, perfected by obsession. The revelation shocked the fleet. Captain Renard's squadron adjusted tactics. Corrin's moves, previously mysterious, now made sense. He anticipated human predictability, exploiting routine. But knowing the mind allowed counterplay. Each strike became a psychological battle as much as a physical one. The fleet adapted, exploiting the faintest openings, threading strategy with human ingenuity. The confrontation was no longer about survival. It was personal, a clash between the human heart and human perfection twisted by obsession. The pulse cannon roared, its green arcs slicing through Corrin's formations. Predictive AI attempted to reroute enemy ships, but human improvisation confounded them. Lieutenant Mara adjusted firing sequences mid-burst, creating unpredictable patterns. Each shot was a gamble, each miss a lesson learned in real time. Technology amplified human intuition rather than replacing it. Corrin countered with brutal precision, moving his vessels in patterns that mimicked human error. Yet, as the fleet adapted, his predictive advantage waned. The pulse cannon destroyed a cruiser in seconds, sending shockwaves through enemy ranks. Human adaptability began to eclipse machine-like foresight. Every victory, small though it seemed, chipped away at Corrin's aura of invincibility. One soldier's defiance at Epsilon had inspired a fleet. Now, the same spirit reshaped a war. A vanguard ship, piloted by Lieutenant Kale's protege, intercepted a wave of missiles heading for the fleet. Engines screamed, shields flared, and the vessel took the full brunt, buying crucial seconds. Across the fleet, comms were filled with stunned silence. Sacrifice became the currency of survival. Admiral Lyra's voice was heavy. They fight for us, and we honor them by winning. Captain Renard led the counterstrike, exploiting the temporary disruption. The Ghost fleet faltered, chaos spreading in Corrin's ranks. Each ship pushed to its limit, every officer and crew member acting with precise courage. Humanity's stubborn defiance turned near-certain annihilation into opportunity. As debris drifted in the void, I realized that war was more than strategy. It was spirit, sacrifice, and the refusal to let fear dictate destiny. One soldier's courage had once saved a fleet. Now, that spirit would save a galaxy. The fleet pressed forward, but Corrin's countermeasures fractured formations. Sensor ghosts and decoy drones created confusion. friendly fire nearly erupted. Admiral Lyra's voice was calm but firm. "Regroup. Trust in each other, not the void." Pilots adjusted manually, weaving through illusions while dodging lethal fire. Every split-second decision was critical. Captain Renard orchestrated a fragile ballet, guiding the fleet into tighter formations. Despite chaos, humans adapted faster than Corran anticipated. The enemy's predictive patterns faltered under the strain of improvisation. Each destroyed cruiser became a lesson, each salvageable wreck a treasure. Humanity's advantage was no longer just courage, it was ingenuity, intuition, and the stubborn refusal to surrender to the impossible. The fleet skirted the rift's outer edge where gravity wells warped time perception. Engines screamed under strain, shields glimmered like glass under pressure. Commander Vance warned, "Any hesitation could cost ships. Trust your instincts." Pilots adjusted thrusters, dodging plasma bursts and debris fields as the void itself threatened to tear them apart. Through the chaos, a small squadron exploited the anomaly, flanking Corran's forces. Missiles detonated harmlessly against warped space, while pulse cannon strikes found gaps in enemy armor. The void became a weapon for those daring enough to use it. Human courage turned cosmic hazards into tactical advantages. The fleet pressed forward, undeterred by the rift's deadly embrace, pushing the battle toward a decisive moment. A breach in Corran's formation opened a narrow corridor through enemy lines. Lieutenant Mara piloted the first strike through it, green pulse arcs lighting the void. Enemy ships scrambled, unable to adapt quickly enough. Admiral Lyra commanded, "Push through. Take the initiative." Every maneuver required precision. Every miscalculation meant death. Captain Renard's squadron surged through, exploiting the disruption. Corran's ghost fleet faltered under coordinated assaults. AI-assisted weapons met human improvisation, creating chaotic but deadly efficiency. Each destroyed cruiser sent ripples through the enemy ranks, forcing Corran to react faster than his enhanced human mind could manage. The balance of power shifted subtly, but decisively. Humanity's ingenuity was gaining the upper hand. Corran revealed his gambit. A decoy armada emerging from a subspace fold, ready to collapse the fleet into a trap. Sensors flickered. The void itself seemed to twist in anticipation. Admiral Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Do not underestimate him. He is human, but perfected by obsession." Every move now required reading not just AI patterns but human psychology on a war scale. Captain Renard's squadron split to bait the decoy, luring Corran's forces into exposed positions. Pulse cannon strikes and cloaked drones struck simultaneously, devastating enemy formations. The Ghost Commander's predictive advantage weakened. Human intuition countered calculated perfection. Each ship became a chess piece, every maneuver a test of courage. Humanity's stubborn defiance was beginning to fracture even the most perfected of strategies. Victory felt within reach, but at immense cost. A forward wing of our fleet intercepted Corran's flagship, sacrificing themselves to disable shields long enough for pulse cannon deployment. Engines flared, weapons systems overloaded, and comms were filled with explosions and frantic reports. Admiral Lyra's voice was heavy but resolute. "They gave everything for us. Honor them with every strike." Captain Renard coordinated the counterstrike with precision. Enemy ranks staggered. Corran's calculations faltered. One vessel, guided by human intuition rather than prediction, struck a decisive blow. The momentum shifted irreversibly. Humanity's defiance, ingenuity, and courage, seeded by one soldier at Epsilon, had turned the tide. The fleet pressed onward, every action now fueled by the sacrifices of those who had chosen to hold the line when no one else could. The battle was far from over, but the first major victory was within our grasp. The fleet surged, pressing the advantage gained from the vanguard's sacrifice. Enemy formations wavered, gaps appearing like wounds in armor. Admiral Lyra's eyes were sharp. "Exploit every weakness, every breach counts." Pilots maneuvered with ruthless precision, weaving between debris and energy spikes. Human instinct guided what no AI could predict. Captain Renard led a strike squadron directly through the fractured line, pulse cannon blazing. Corran's ghost fleet struggled to respond, miscalculations multiplying. The void became a deadly chessboard, each human decision a disruptive force against perfected strategy. Momentum was ours, but every victory carried the cost of ships, crews, and hope. Humanity pressed forward, defiance burning brighter with each passing second. Reports of surviving enemy ships fleeing mirrored Kale's old stand at Epsilon Outpost. Sensors picked isolated remnants. Some attempted ambushes but were cut down. The memory of one soldier holding the line resonated across the fleet, inspiring every pilot. Admiral Lyra's voice carried pride and sorrow. History repeats itself. Courage is contagious. Captain Renard watched as the fleet adapted, exploiting enemy hesitations with human ingenuity. Automated turrets, cloaked drones, and pulse cannon strikes worked in harmony, guided by intuition. The Ghost Fleet, once a perfect machine of prediction, now floundered. Humanity's unpredictability, the same defiance Kale had exemplified, had become our most powerful weapon. Victory was within reach, yet the war's final turns remained uncertain. A sudden flare erupted from a collapsed star nearby, illuminating enemy formations. Sensors picked anomalous energy readings, patterns Corran hadn't accounted for. Lieutenant Mara analyzed quickly, a weak point in the Ghost Fleet's formation, exposed only by the stellar anomaly. Admiral Lyra seized the opportunity. All units, focus fire. Exploit the gap. Timing was critical. Hesitation meant destruction. Captain Renard led the strike through the flare's illumination, pulse cannon blazing. Enemy ships faltered under coordinated human assault, their AI unable to compensate for the unpredictable vectors. The fleet's audacity and quick thinking disrupted Corran's advantage. Every destroyed cruiser sent ripples through enemy ranks, forcing him into reactive maneuvers. Humanity's blend of instinct, technology, and courage began shaping the outcome decisively. Corran, recognizing the tide turning, unleashed a concentrated counterstrike. Cloaked cruisers emerged from subspace folds, aiming for the fleet's core. Sensors blared alarms, shields flared and strained. Admiral Lyra's voice rang out, "Brace for impact, prioritize defense and adaptation." Every pilot adjusted thrusters, recalibrated shields, and prepared for maximum survival. Captain Renard maneuvered the fleet with precision, exploiting openings left by overextended enemy ships. Pulse cannon and drone strikes collided with Corran's formations, fracturing the counterattack before it could fully engage. The Ghost Commander's enhanced foresight struggled to keep pace with human unpredictability. Each maneuver, each sacrifice, each calculated risk chipped away at the illusion of invincibility. Humanity's spirit, ingenuity, and determination now clashed head-on with obsession and perfection. The fleet, battered but unbroken, pressed the assault. Enemy ships wavered, formations collapsing under relentless pressure. Admiral Lyra's voice carried a rare warmth. "We fight not just for victory, but for every life lost defending humanity." Pulse cannons blazed, and the void shimmered with the violence of battle. Captain Renard led a final coordinated strike against Corran's flagship. Cloaked drones disrupted defenses while the pulse cannon delivered precise destruction. The Ghost Commander's advantage crumbled. Human adaptability had turned near-certain defeat into opportunity. One soldier's courage at Epsilon had inspired a fleet. Now, that same spirit reshaped the course of war. The tide had turned, but the final confrontation awaited. A battle that would decide the fate of the galaxy. Captain Renard led the fleet deeper into Corran's command zone. Sensors picked concentrated defenses, energy spikes, and gravitational traps. Admiral Lyra's voice rang out, "Every ship must hold formation. Precision is our shield." Human intuition guided navigation through anomalies that even AI predicted incorrectly. Each second demanded audacity and nerve. Cloaked drones scouted ahead, relaying weak points in Kuran's defenses. Pulse cannon arcs cut through enemy cruisers, fracturing lines with lethal accuracy. Human judgment, improvisation, and quick adaptation outpaced the Ghost Commander's predictive algorithms. Every destroyed ship was a step closer to the enemy core. Humanity pressed forward, turning calculated chaos into opportunity and bending the tide of battle toward decisive confrontation. Kuran retaliated, deploying experimental weapon arrays capable of bending reality around fleet formations. Shields flickered, engines strained under gravitational anomalies. Admiral Lyra's voice was calm but firm. Adjust thrusters manually. Trust instincts. Each pilot became a conduit of human intuition, threading through spatial distortions that no AI could fully compensate. Captain Renard coordinated a counteroffensive, exploiting Kuran's overconfidence. Cloaked drones disrupted weapon arrays while pulse cannon strikes targeted critical junctions. Enemy ships miscalculated, formations collapsed, and the Ghost Fleet staggered. Human adaptability, courage, and audacity began to overwhelm the perfected calculations of Kuran. One soldier's legacy at Epsilon had sparked the fleet. Now, that spark ignited decisive action across the battlefield. A squadron volunteered to breach Kuran's outer defenses, aware that few would survive. Engines screamed as they plowed through concentrated fire. Shields flared, explosions illuminated the void, and comms crackled with chaos. Admiral Lyra's voice was heavy. They carry humanity's hope. Every strike matters. Sacrifice became the currency of survival. Captain Renard's main force exploited the distraction, advancing through weakened enemy lines. Pulse cannon fired with precision, destroying cruisers and fracturing formation integrity. The Ghost Commander, forced into reactive maneuvers, revealed vulnerabilities previously hidden. Human instinct, courage, and ingenuity, born of one soldier's defiance, had turned what seemed like insurmountable odds into an opportunity for decisive action. The fleet encircled Kuran's core ships. Cloaked drones created illusions, guiding enemy vessels into traps. Admiral Lyra's voice was sharp. Contain them. Predict less. Act more. Each pilot maneuvered with precision, exploiting openings no AI could foresee. Captain Renard's squadron struck simultaneously from multiple vectors, pulse cannon firing with lethal coordination. Enemy formations collapsed, shields failed, propulsion systems overloaded. Kuran's strategic advantage eroded with every second. Humanity's ingenuity, refined through instinct, courage, and experience, was overwhelmingly perfected foresight. The net tightened, forcing the Ghost Commander into desperate, reactive measures. Victory, though costly, was now within reach. Kuran, cornered and calculating, activated a final gambit, a concentrated energy surge capable of wiping the fleet from existence. Sensors screamed alerts, shields strained to their limits. Admiral Lyra's calm voice resonated. Brace for everything. Trust human instinct. Every crew member felt the weight of history pressing against them. Captain Renard executed a risky maneuver, threading the fleet through energy spikes with human intuition as the guide. Pulse cannon targeted the source of the surge, while cloaked drones disrupted control systems. The gamble succeeded. Kuran's weapon failed, leaving the core vulnerable. Human audacity, adaptability, and courage had outmatched obsession and perfection. One soldier's stand at Epsilon had become a fleet's defiance, now poised to end the Ghost Commander's reign. The fleet pierced the heart of Kuran's formation. Energy surges warped sensors, shields strained to limits, and debris danced across the void. Admiral Lyra's voice was calm yet commanding. Hold formation, every second counts. Human intuition guided navigation through hazards no AI could fully anticipate. Each maneuver was a test of nerve and skill. Captain Renard led the vanguard through fractured enemy lines, pulse cannon blazing. Cloaked drones disrupted defensive systems, while the fleet exploited every opening. The Ghost Commander's predictive advantage faltered under relentless, unpredictable human action. Humanity's ingenuity and courage were no longer reactive. They dictated the battlefield. The path to Corran's flagship opened, but the final confrontation loomed, a clash between defiance and obsession. Corran's flagship erupted in energy surges, deploying devastating countermeasures. Cloaked cruisers swarmed, firing with ruthless precision. Admiral Lyra's voice cut through alarms. "Adapt, don't follow predictions. Human instinct is our weapon." Pilots threaded through energy storms, shields flaring with each near miss. Captain Renard executed risky maneuvers, exploiting weak points in Corran's formation. Pulse cannon arcs and drone strikes fractured enemy ranks. The Ghost Commander's calculations failed to account for improvisation and audacity. Humanity's edge, born of instinct, courage, and defiance, shifted the battle decisively. The fleet closed in, the final confrontation now unavoidable. A squadron volunteered to breach Corran's core defenses, knowing few would survive. Engines screamed as they absorbed concentrated fire, shields flaring under impact. Admiral Lyra's voice carried solemn weight. "They carry humanity's hope. Honor their courage with every maneuver." Sacrifice became the currency of survival. Captain Renard's main force surged through the breach, pulse cannon firing with precision. Enemy formations collapsed, key cruisers disabled. Corran's predictive advantage dwindled as human ingenuity, adaptability, and audacity reshaped the battlefield. One soldier's stand at Epsilon had sparked a fleet. Now it was reshaping a war. Fluxes capable of annihilating multiple ships. Admiral Lyra's voice rang steady. "This is it. Trust instincts. Act decisively." Every pilot and crew member felt the weight of history pressing down. Captain Renard maneuvered the fleet in a coordinated strike. Cloaked drones disrupted shields while pulse cannon arcs targeted energy nodes. The Ghost Commander's calculations failed to predict human unpredictability. Each destroyed system weakened Corran's control. Humanity's courage and ingenuity, seated by one soldier at Epsilon, now dictated the fate of the flagship, the battle, and the galaxy. Corran's flagship faltered, energy cores destabilizing. Enemy cruisers lost coordination, shields flickering, and propulsion grids failing. Admiral Lyra's voice carried triumph and sorrow. "We honor those who gave everything to reach this moment." Every crew member understood the cost and the stakes. Captain Renard's squadron struck the final decisive blow. Pulse cannon fire and drone sabotage synchronized perfectly. The Ghost Fleet collapsed, Corran's enhanced foresight rendered useless by human audacity and adaptability. One soldier's defiance at Epsilon had inspired a fleet. Now that spirit had toppled a Ghost Commander, proving that courage, ingenuity, and humanity itself could defy even perfection. Victory was hard won, and the galaxy would remember. The fleet stabilized, drifting among the wreckage of Corran's shattered formations. Sensors picked scattered enemy remnants, rogue energy spikes, and drifting debris. Admiral Lyra's voice was calm but heavy. "We've won the battle, but the war's scars remain. Attend to survivors. Recover what we can." Crews moved cautiously, scanning for traps and remaining threats. Captain Renard oversaw salvage operations, coordinating drones and boarding parties. Pulse cannon fire had cleared the enemy, but debris and unstable wreckage posed new dangers. Amid the destruction, crews discovered hidden weapon caches, experimental tech, and AI cores. Each recovery promised both strategic advantage and a reminder of the cost. Humanity had triumphed, but survival demanded vigilance, ingenuity, and respect for what had been sacrificed. Reports reached the bridge. Surviving crews of sacrificed squadrons were found, battered but alive. Lieutenant Kale's protégé had survived, carrying stories of bravery and ingenuity. Admiral Lyra ordered memorials broadcast fleet-wide. They gave everything. Their courage is our shield. The fleet paused to honor the fallen, even as systems hummed with activity. Captain Renard walked among the survivors, listening to tales of heroism, improvisation, and defiance. Humanity's legacy, the spark ignited by Kale at Epsilon, had spread across the fleet. Technology alone had not won this war. Human courage, quick thinking, and sacrifice had prevailed. Statues would be built, stories told, but the lived experience, lives risked and saved, was the true testament to heroism. Recon teams scoured the outer rim, discovering remnants of derelict fleets lost to history. AI cores, forgotten weapons, and starships drifted silently. Lieutenant Mara analyzed the recovered tech, potential advancements decades ahead of current fleets. Admiral Lyra noted, "Humanity didn't just survive. We reclaim our past to secure the future." Captain Renard coordinated the integration of salvaged tech into the active fleet. Cloaked drones, pulse cannons, and AI-assisted systems enhanced human strategy rather than replacing it. Humanity's ingenuity, guided by intuition and adaptability, created a force no enemy could easily predict. The galaxy's forgotten armadas now became living assets, a testament to resilience, courage, and the will to endure against overwhelming odds. Even in victory, shadows lingered. Intelligence reports suggested rogue factions had escaped, carrying fragments of Koran's data. Admiral Lyra's voice was sharp. "We celebrate today, but tomorrow requires vigilance. Humanity cannot be caught unprepared again." Every sensor scan, every patrol, reminded the fleet that the enemy's reach was not fully extinguished. Captain Renard deployed reconnaissance squadrons, cloaked and agile, to track remaining threats. Each encounter demanded tactical ingenuity, improvisation, and courage. Humanity's edge, born from instinct, adaptability, and defiance, was now codified in every maneuver. The fleet had learned from one soldier's stand at Epsilon. Victory was fragile, but perseverance, ingenuity, and human spirit ensured survival in even the darkest void. The fleet regrouped at Solstice Station, battered but unbroken. Histories were rewritten, monuments planned, and tales of heroism recorded. Admiral Lyra addressed the assembled fleet. "One soldier held a line. We held a galaxy. Let us remember why we fight. For courage, for hope, for humanity." Captain Renard looked over the fleet, pulse cannon arcs still glowing faintly in space. Every crew member carried the weight of sacrifice, ingenuity, and survival. Kyle's spirit, echoed in countless acts of courage, had transformed a near-certain annihilation into a story of triumph. Humanity had returned to the galaxy, not as shadows, but as a force defined by defiance, ingenuity, and the unyielding will to endure. The fleet patrolled newly secured sectors. Intelligence reports flagged anomalies, ship signatures that didn't match known allies or enemies. Admiral Lyra's voice carried urgency. "The battle is won, but the war isn't over. Investigate every unknown contact." The void remained unpredictable, hiding dangers even after Koran's defeat. Captain Renard deployed reconnaissance drones, scanning derelict fleets and asteroid belts. Cloaked remnants of enemy tech were detected, rogue AI cores, and experimental weapons. Humanity's adaptability was tested again. Every anomaly could be an ambush or an opportunity. Vigilance became as important as firepower. The fleet, battle-hardened and cautious, pressed forward, understanding that even after victory, shadows lingered in the void. Recovered AI cores led Lieutenant Marr to an ancient archive hidden on a drifting station. Systems hummed with dormant knowledge, weapon schematics, and records of civilizations long erased. Admiral Lyra's voice was awed. The galaxy left this behind for a reason. Its secrets could change everything. Captain Renard coordinated teams to extract intelligence, integrating it with fleet systems. Cloaked drones monitored for threats, while pulse cannons remained ready. Humanity's ingenuity allowed rapid adaptation, combining recovered tech with intuition. Knowledge became a weapon as potent as any pulse cannon. The fleet realized that survival was not just about combat. It was about understanding the galaxy itself. Sensors detected rogue vectors, isolated ships operating outside Koran's control. Some carried remnants of advanced AI. Others were autonomous war machines. Admiral Lyra's tone was firm. Neutralize threats, but assess potential allies. Intelligence is power. Every encounter required judgment beyond calculations. Captain Renard led intercepts, disabling rogue vectors with precision strikes while salvaging tech where possible. Human adaptability turned encounters into opportunities. Each recovered vessel enhanced fleet capabilities, expanding both firepower and knowledge. Humanity's edge, intuition, courage, and ingenuity ensured the fleet remained a step ahead of unpredictable forces. Even remnants of Koran's designs could be turned to our advantage. The fleet regrouped near Solstice Station. Repairs were underway, crew rotations scheduled, and salvage tech integrated. Admiral Lyra addressed officers. We have survived, reclaimed lost knowledge, and neutralized threats. But the galaxy is vast. Our work continues. Captain Renard reviewed fleet logs, noting both losses and heroics. Humanity's resilience had been tested, and the fleet emerged stronger and wiser. Every maneuver, every sacrifice, and every recovered secret contributed to a new era of strategy. The human fleet was no longer just a force. It was a symbol of defiance, ingenuity, and survival in the galaxy's dark expanse. Engines hummed in quiet patrol as the fleet surveyed newly secured regions. Stars glimmered across the void, a deceptive serenity after months of relentless combat. Admiral Lyra's voice broke the silence. We've fought well, but the final challenges are yet unseen. Prepare for what comes next. Captain Renard stood on the observation deck, watching lights drift across space. Every crew member bore scars and memories, yet all had survived to fight another day. Humanity had reclaimed its place in the galaxy, blending courage, technology, and instinct into an unstoppable force. But even as calm returned, whispers of hidden enemies and untold threats lingered. The fleet braced, ready for the next storm, knowing one soldier's defiance had sparked an era of human dominance in the stars. Scout vessels intercepted unknown fleets at the galaxy's fringe. Some ships signaled intent to parley, others emitted hostile pulses. Admiral Lyra's voice cut through the bridge. Caution! Humanity cannot afford misjudgment. Treat every unknown as a potential threat and potential ally. The void was alive with uncertainty. Captain Renard coordinated cautious engagement, cloaked drones probing every ship. Every alliance required verification. Every encounter was a test of diplomacy and tactical awareness. Salvaged intelligence guided negotiations, and every successful pact expanded the fleet's strength. Humanity's adaptability and intuition, once the edge against Koran, now became crucial for weaving fragile coalitions that could turn the final battle in our favor. Sensors flared as the last remnants of Koran's designs rallied. A massive armada of AI-enhanced warships, cloaked and armed with experimental weaponry. Admiral Lyra's voice was steel. This is it. Humanity meets perfection. No hesitation. Every crew member braced for the confrontation that would decide the galaxy's fate. Captain Renard formed the fleet into a defensive web, pulse cannon arcs cutting potential lanes of attack. Cloaked drones maneuvered ahead, disrupting enemy sensors. Every maneuver required precision. Every decision carried the weight of countless lives. Humanity's ingenuity, courage, and adaptability were tested to the limits. One soldier's defiance at Epsilon had once delayed the enemy. Now, that spirit would define the culmination of war. The enemy deployed experimental tech designed to bypass shields and predict human reactions. Shields flickered, engines strained, and sensors went haywire. Admiral Lyra's voice was firm. Adapt, improvise, survive. That is humanity's advantage. Pilots relied on instinct, intuition, and rapid calculation rather than predictable algorithms. Captain Renard's squadron exploited every weakness. Cloaked drones created false vectors, pulse cannon arcs shredded disrupted formations, and rapid maneuvers kept the fleet unpredictable. Corran's legacy was formidable, but human unpredictability, a combination of courage, ingenuity, and improvisation, overpowered calculated perfection. Humanity's edge had evolved into a weapon of decisive effectiveness. Admiral Lyra ordered the fleet into formation around a central point, luring the enemy into a calculated trap. Shields flared and cloaked drones streamed ahead. "This is it," she said, voice resonant. "We strike together, or we fall together." The void itself seemed to tremble under anticipation. Captain Renard guided pulse cannon fire, synchronized with drone maneuvers. Enemy formations fractured, energy cores overloaded, and propulsion grids collapsed under pressure. The fleet's coordinated improvisation dismantled even the most advanced enemy technology. Humanity's courage, adaptability, and instinct, seeded by one soldier's defiance, had become the weapon that no algorithm, no perfection could counter. Victory was imminent. Corran's armada collapsed in cascading explosions, AI cores frying under coordinated assault. Shields failed, engines flared, and the void lit with green arcs of pulse cannon fire. Admiral Lyra's voice carried pride and solemnity. "We've endured. We've triumphed. Humanity stands." Captain Renard surveyed the battlefield, noting surviving crews, salvaged tech, and the remnants of Corran's perfection. One soldier's courage at Epsilon had inspired a fleet. That spirit now defined human supremacy across the galaxy. The human fleet had returned, not merely to survive, but to reshape the stars. Every sacrifice, every act of ingenuity, every heartbeat of defiance had forged a new era. Humanity had ascended. Engines hummed across the void as the fleet drifted among the remnants of Corran's armada. Smoke, energy flares, and drifting wreckage painted a grim tableau. Admiral Lyra's voice was soft yet commanding. "Survivors first. Recover what lives remain. Humanity endures through vigilance and courage." Crews moved with methodical precision, salvaging both technology and lives. Captain Renard oversaw recovery operations, cloaked drones scanning for survivors and rogue AI cores. The fleet had survived near certain annihilation, and every recovered ship or weapon enhanced humanity's future capabilities. Lessons learned in chaos became a permanent strategy. The fleet's spirit, forged through sacrifice, ingenuity, and defiance, had transformed near despair into hope, proving once again that human resilience could overcome even the most perfect enemy. Memorials were broadcast across the fleet. Names, faces, and deeds of fallen crew members appeared on holoscreens. Admiral Lyra's voice carried solemnity. One soldier held a line. Many gave everything to protect humanity. We remember and we honor them. Tears and pride mingled across the bridge. Captain Renard visited surviving crews, hearing personal accounts of courage and ingenuity. The spirit that Kale displayed at Epsilon had multiplied across the fleet, shaping a culture of defiance and resilience. Humanity had reclaimed its place in the galaxy, not by numbers alone, but by instinct, adaptability, and relentless courage. Every act of bravery became legend, every sacrifice a foundation for the future. Lightly as the fleet docked at Solstice Station, damaged but operational. Repairs, upgrades, and integration of recovered technology reshaped the human fleet into an unprecedented force. Admiral Lyra addressed the crews. "We rebuild not just ships, but our legacy. Humanity has returned stronger than ever. Captain Renard supervised new ship deployments, integrating pulse cannons, cloaked drones, and AI cores. Every vessel now carried the lessons of sacrifice, ingenuity, and defiance. Humanity's presence would no longer be fleeting. It was permanent. The fleet became a living testament to what one soldier's courage could inspire, an enduring legacy across the stars. Recon missions revealed reclaimed systems, abandoned colonies, and forgotten technologies. Humanity's influence spread, not through conquest, but through resilience and ingenuity. Admiral Lyra's voice resonated with hope. The galaxy is vast, but humanity has returned to stay. Our future is ours to shape. Captain Renard observed the stars, fleets moving in synchronized precision. Cloaked drones mapped unknown sectors, pulse cannon ranges expanded patrol coverage. Humanity had transcended mere survival. Its ingenuity, adaptability, and courage ensured dominance without tyranny. One soldier's defiance had set this course, and now the human fleet safeguarded every star touched by human hands. The galaxy, once indifferent, now remembers humanity. Softly across the void as statues of heroes, including Kale, were erected on Solstice Station. Admiral Lyra spoke to the assembled fleet. "We fight because we must. We survive because we choose to. And we endure because someone had to. Let this legacy inspire all who follow." Captain Renard gazed at the stars, pulse cannon arcs faintly illuminating the void. Humanity's courage, ingenuity, and defiance had transformed near extinction into ascendancy. One soldier's stand at Epsilon had become a fleet's inspiration, a galaxy-wide legend, and a defining testament to what humanity could achieve. The human fleet would endure, not merely as warriors but as guardians of hope, ingenuity, and the indomitable human spirit, carrying humanity into a future it would shape and defend. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.